This is the story of how Taylor Swift gave away $197 million in bonuses to her Eras Tour crew, making it the most generous payout in music history. On December 12, 2024, Disney Plus released The End of an Era, a 6-episode docuseries that shows what Swift calls Bonus Day. Intimate footage of the pop star handwriting cards to every single crew member, and presenting them with checks that, for some, were life-changing 6-figure amounts. The Eras Tour wasn't just a concert series, but a 21-month journey across 5 continents that broke every record in the music industry. From March 17, 2023 to December 8, 2024, Taylor Swift performed 149 shows in 53 cities for over 10 million fans, generating $2,077,618,725 in ticket sales alone, and becoming the first tour in history to gross over $2 billion while doubling the previous record. Throughout this unprecedented run, Swift made a decision that would set a new standard for how artists treat the people who make their shows possible. The scale of the Eras Tour, understanding just how massive this tour was, gives context to what comes next. Over 630 days, Taylor Swift performed for 10,168,008 people, and each show ran 3 hours and 15 minutes, with Swift performing 44 to 46 songs per night. She changed through more than 60 different outfits throughout the tour, and wore more than 250 custom pairs of shoes made by Christian Louboutin, spending approximately 25 hours total just performing the 10-minute version of All Too Well. Average attendance per show hit 67,487 people, which broke U2's 360 tour record for the highest average attendance. At Wembley Stadium in London, Swift performed 8 shows with a total attendance of 753,112 people, the most shows any artist has done at a single venue. Her largest single show drew 96,006 people at the Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia on February 16, 2024. Seattle fans created seismic activity equivalent to a 2.3 magnitude earthquake just from dancing and jumping. The numbers tell a story. With an average ticket price of $204, the tour brought in over $2 billion in ticket sales, plus an estimated $400 million in merchandise. And the concert film became the highest-grossing concert film of all time at $261 million globally. This wasn't just a successful tour, but a cultural and economic phenomenon. Hundreds of crew members spent months away from their families to make this happen, working through the night, setting up and tearing down massive stages, managing sound and lighting, coordinating dancers, handling wardrobe changes, ensuring security, and managing every detail that makes a show this size possible. Bonus Day, a new precedent. Taylor Swift explains in the Disney Plus docuseries why she created what she calls Bonus Day, saying that setting a precedent with the Eras Tour was really important to her because people who work on the road should get more of a bonus when the tour grosses more. This wasn't a one-time event at the end of the tour, but something that happened after each leg, distributing the $197 million throughout the 21-month run. Swift paid the bonuses on top of regular salaries and tied them to the tour's performance, which meant the better the tour did financially, the more the crew received. These people just work so hard, and they are the best at what they do, Swift says in the docuseries. What makes this story particularly special is the personal touch she added to every single bonus. The handwritten notes. Taylor Swift didn't just write checks, but spent weeks handwriting individual notes to every crew member. So every single person on the crew, I've handwritten them a note, she explains, adding that it took a couple weeks but was fun to write the notes. Each envelope came with a wax seal, and Swift personally handed them out to her onstage crew, including dancers and band members. Dancer Cameron Saunders reads his note aloud in the docuseries. "Dearest Cam, we've traveled the world like we set out to do. We've dazzled the crowds, but we've missed family too. My full gratitude doesn't come from a bank, but here's dollars just to say thanks. Love, Taylor." Swift reflects on why this matters to her, saying it's fun to think about everybody's lives that they're going to go back to, the time off they're going to have, and the kids they haven't seen because they've been away for months. Making that worthwhile for them feels like Christmas morning when you finally get to say thank you. The footage shows genuine emotional reactions. One production assistant looks at their bonus amount and says simply, "Emma pass out." The truck drivers. A life-changing $100,000. August 2023 brought the first major public story about these bonuses, right after the North American leg of the tour wrapped. Before Swift's show in Santa Clara, California on July 29, 2023, her father Scott Swift presented bonuses to approximately 50 truck drivers who had been hauling equipment for the tour. Each driver received $100,000, totaling about $5 million just for the trucking crew. And along with the checks, Scott Swift delivered handwritten letters from Taylor to each driver. Mike Schirkenbach, CEO of Shamotion Trucking Company, one of the logistics partners for the tour, explained what this meant. Her father was the one that actually presented the checks to our drivers, and he presented handwritten letters from Taylor. It's incredible. He continued by pointing out that she was giving a sum of money that was life-changing for these people, noting that a lot of these drivers are not homeowners, and a lump sum like this gives you the ability to put a down payment on a home. Schirkenbach painted a picture of what life is like for touring crew, explaining that these men and women live on the road, sleep during the day, and work all night in a grueling task that requires leaving their families and young children for weeks. For Taylor's tour, they'd been away from home for 24 weeks. Look, fair wage doesn't put you in a position to buy a home, he added. But this opens up that possibility. The logistics of the Eras Tour were massive, with approximately 90 trucks exclusively hauling equipment, at costs reaching as much as $500,000 per week. Transportation costs alone exceeded $30 million for the tour. These weren't just people driving trucks, but specialists managing incredibly complex logistics to move a massive production from city to city, country to country, continent to continent. WHU received bonuses. The $197 million didn't go only to truck drivers and dancers, but spread across every category of crew member. Swift distributed bonuses to band members, backup singers, instrument technicians, lighting technicians, sound technicians, caterers, carpenters, production staff and assistants, choreographers, security personnel, hairstylists, makeup artists, wardrobe stylists, physical therapists, video team members, pyrotechnics crew, riggers, and the merchandise team. Every person who contributed to making the Eras Tour possible received recognition. August 2023's first major distribution after the North American leg totaled over $55 million alone, and bonuses continued after each subsequent tour leg through Europe, Asia, Australia, and the final shows in North America. The Dark Shadow, Vienna, and Southport. The Disney Plus docuseries reveals something else that made the final bonuses particularly emotional, which were the violent incidents that occurred during the tour's later stages. July 29, 2024 brought a stabbing attack at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class in Southport, England. 3 children were killed. Bebe King, age 6, Elsie Stankham, age 7, and Alice Da Silva Aguiar, age 9, and 10 others were injured. The attack happened at Heart Space Dance Studio during a summer workshop, and the attacker, Axel Rudakubana, who was 17 at the time, was sentenced to 52 years in prison in January 2025. Just over a week later, on August 7th and 8th, 2024, Swift had to cancel 3 concerts scheduled for August 8th through 10th at Ernst Happel Stadium in Vienna, Austria, where over 200,000 fans had been expected across those 3 shows. Austrian authorities, with intelligence provided by the US CIA, thwarted a terrorist plot connected to ISIS and arrested 3 suspects: a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, and an 18-year-old. Swift becomes emotional in the docuseries discussing these events, saying they'd had a series of very violent, scary things happen to the tour and had dodged a massacre situation. She described going into her final London shows at Wembley Stadium as skating on thin ice after the Vienna cancellation, expressing that violence at her shows was her biggest fear. Swift met privately with the Southport attack victims' families backstage at the Wembley shows, and her mother Andrea told her afterward that she knew Taylor had helped them. These meetings affected Swift deeply, and the footage shows her emotional before and after. When the bonuses were distributed for the European leg, which ended on August 20th, 2024 in London, the emotional weight of what the crew had been through together added another layer of meaning to Swift's gesture of gratitude. Setting a new industry. Standard context helps show how unprecedented this really was. The industry average ticket price for the top 100 tours in 2023 was $131, while Swift's averaged $204. Coldplay's Music of the Spheres tour, which previously held the record, grossed $1 billion, and Elton John's Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour ran for 5 years with 328 shows, and grossed $939 million. Taylor Swift's tour more than doubled the previous record in less than 2 years, and she chose to share that success on a scale never seen before. Mike Schirkenbach called it unprecedented, and industry experts noted that Swift was setting a new precedent for artist compensation to crew. While Swift has historically been known for generosity to her crew and fans on previous tours, nothing approached this scale. The $197 million in bonuses represents a philosophy shift. Swift explicitly tied the bonuses to the tour's gross performance, creating a model where the crew's compensation grows with the tour's success, which meant she wasn't just being generous, but making a statement about how artists should treat the people who make their work possible. The records that made it possible. The bonuses were possible because of the records the tour shattered. December 2023 brought the milestone of becoming the first tour to gross over $1 billion, and then it became the first tour to gross over $2 billion, making Swift the first solo act to sell over 10 million tickets on a single tour. Swift broke venue records at multiple locations, holding the record for most shows by a female artist at numerous stadiums. 18 different opening acts performed throughout the tour, including Sabrina Carpenter, Paramore, and Phoebe Bridgers, and cities where Swift performed experienced significant economic boosts. The tour became a cultural phenomenon that transcended music, creating its own economy, sparking social media trends, generating political and economic discussions, and bringing together millions of people across generations. Conclusion. When The End of an Era premiered on December 12, 2024 on Disney+, alongside Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, the final show concert film, audiences got an intimate look at what happens when success is shared. The 6-episode docu-series, directed by Don Argot and co-directed by Sheena M. Joyce, released 2 episodes weekly through December 26, 2024. The footage of Bonus Day shows something rare in the entertainment industry, which is genuine gratitude translated into tangible, life-changing action. For truck drivers putting down payments on their first homes, for dancers and musicians building financial security, for crew members whose families sacrificed months without them, the $197 million represented more than money, but recognition that their work mattered, that their sacrifices were seen, and that their contributions were valued. Taylor Swift told her crew that her full gratitude doesn't come from a bank, but the check she wrote demonstrated that gratitude doesn't have to be just words. In an industry where touring crew often work grueling hours for modest wages, where being away from family is accepted as the cost of the job, Swift proved that it doesn't have to be that way. The Eras Tour ended on December 8, 2024 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, breaking every record, creating unprecedented cultural impact, and generating over $2 billion in ticket sales. But perhaps its most lasting legacy won't be the numbers or the records, but the precedent Taylor Swift set for how artists can and should share success with the people who make it possible. Those $197 million change lives, and in an industry watching closely, they might just change the future of how touring crews are valued and compensated. That's the real story behind the tiers on Bonus Day. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.